Imagine spending $2.5 billion on the world's most advanced Russian missile system, getting kicked out of the most exclusive fighter jet program on Earth, and then, just maybe, returning those missiles to get back in. Sounds insane, right? Well, that's exactly what Turkey might have just done. And this decision could reshape the entire power balance in NATO, the Middle East, and beyond. Stick around because what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. Let's rewind to 2017. Turkey, a NATO member for over 60 years, made a decision that shocked the Western world. President Erdogan announced Turkey would purchase Russia's S-400 missile defense system, not an American Patriot system, not a European alternative, Russia's crown jewel of air defense technology. Why did this matter so much? Because Turkey was also a key partner in the F-35 program, America's fifth-generation stealth fighter jet. Turkish companies were manufacturing critical components. Turkey had already paid $1.4 billion and was expecting to receive over 100 F-35s. But here's where it gets complicated. The United States went ballistic, pun intended. Washington warned Turkey that the S-400's radar systems could learn to detect and track F-35s, potentially compromising the stealth technology that America had spent decades and hundreds of billions developing. It was a security nightmare. In 2019, despite repeated warnings, Turkey activated the S-400 system. The consequence? America kicked Turkey out of the F-35 program entirely. Turkish pilots training in Arizona were sent home. Components manufacturing stopped, and Turkey lost access to the most advanced fighter jet on the planet. The relationship between these NATO allies hit rock bottom. Turkey had chosen Russia over America, and the fallout was catastrophic. Fast forward to 2025, and rumors are swirling that Turkey is negotiating to return the S-400 systems to Russia in exchange for rejoining the F-35 program. But is this actually happening, or is it just geopolitical theater? Here's what we know for certain. Turkish officials have been in backdoor negotiations with both Washington and Moscow. According to recent reports, Turkey has proposed several options: storing the S-400s without activation, transferring them to a third party, or yes, returning them to Russia entirely. Why the sudden change of heart? 3 major reasons. First, Turkey's Air Force is aging rapidly. Their F-16s are decades old, and without F-35s, Turkey is falling behind regional rivals like Greece, which is receiving advanced fighter jets from France and upgrading their own F-16s with American help. Second, the geopolitical landscape has shifted. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has isolated Moscow internationally, and Turkey has positioned itself as a mediator, but maintaining that balance requires staying in NATO's good graces. Third, economics. Turkey's economy has been struggling, with inflation exceeding 60% at points. The defense industry needs Western technology and partnerships to thrive. Being shut out of the F-35 program means losing billions in potential manufacturing contracts. But here's the catch. Russia isn't just going to take back $2.5 billion worth of equipment without compensation. And even if they did, would America actually let Turkey back into the F-35 program? That's far from guaranteed. Let's break down what each player wants in this high-stakes poker game. Turkey's position. Erdogan needs a win. His popularity has taken hits due to economic struggles and the devastating earthquakes of 2023. Getting F-35s would be a massive domestic victory, showing strength, modernizing the military, and proving Turkey can negotiate with superpowers on equal terms. Plus, Turkey genuinely needs modern fighter jets to maintain regional dominance. America's position. The Pentagon is divided. Some officials argue that bringing Turkey back strengthens NATO's southern flank and sends a message to other allies considering Russian weapons. Others believe Turkey burned that bridge and can't be trusted with America's most sensitive technology.
There's also the political dimension. Congress has been furious about Turkey's S-400 purchase, and any deal would face significant legislative opposition. Russia's position. This is Putin's nightmare scenario. Losing Turkey as an S-400 customer would be embarrassing and economically painful. It would also show that Russia's leverage over NATO members is weaker than Moscow pretends. However, Russia might accept a face-saving arrangement, like Turkey paying a penalty or Russia receiving something else in return, rather than looking completely weak. NATO's position. The alliance wants unity, especially with ongoing tensions with Russia. Having Turkey fully integrated strengthens NATO's position in the Black Sea, Mediterranean, and Middle East. But the alliance also can't appear to reward members who violate security protocols. The wild card? Israel and Greece. Both countries have opposed Turkey receiving F-35s due to regional tensions. Their lobbying power in Washington cannot be underestimated. If Turkey actually returns the S-400s and gets F-35s, the geopolitical ripple effects would be enormous. For NATO, this would be a massive win. Turkey is NATO's second largest military and controls critical territory, including the Bosphorus Strait. A fully equipped modern Turkish Air Force strengthens the alliance's ability to counter Russia and project power into the Middle East. It would also send a clear message. Straying toward Russia has consequences, but the door isn't permanently closed. For Russia, this would be a humiliating setback. Putin has spent years trying to create divisions within NATO, and the S-400 sale to Turkey was a crown achievement. Losing that would demonstrate Russia's declining influence and inability to maintain partnerships, even with countries it considers friendly. For the Middle East, Turkey with F-35s becomes the dominant regional air power. This concerns Israel, worries Greece, and changes calculations for Syria, Iran, and Iraq. Turkey's ability to project power, especially into the eastern Mediterranean where there are disputes over gas deposits, increases dramatically. For the defense industry, if Turkey returns to the F-35 program, Turkish manufacturers could resume producing components, creating jobs and economic benefits. But the delay has already cost billions, and trust has been damaged. American defense contractors would benefit from additional sales, but would need guarantees against future incidents. The Ukraine factor. Turkey has played a unique role in the Russia-Ukraine war, maintaining relations with both sides, facilitating grain deals, and selling drones to Ukraine while not fully joining Western sanctions. Getting F-35s might require Turkey to take a firmer stance against Russia, which could complicate its mediator position. But here's the reality check. Even if all parties agree in principle, implementation could take years. Congressional approval, technology transfer agreements, pilot training, infrastructure modifications, this isn't a simple transaction. So, did Turkey really return Russia's S-400s? Here's the truth. As of right now, there's no confirmed deal. What we're seeing is intense negotiation, trial balloons, and diplomatic maneuvering. Turkish officials have publicly stated they're exploring options. American officials have said they're willing to discuss pathways forward. Russian officials have been conspicuously quiet. My analysis? A deal is possible, but not guaranteed. Turkey desperately wants F-35s, might see strategic value in reintegrating Turkey fully into NATO's defense architecture. But the obstacles are real. Congressional opposition, Turkish pride, Russian resistance, and regional ally concerns. The most likely scenario? A phased approach. Turkey might agree to mothball the S-400s without activating them, commit to not purchasing additional Russian systems, and gradually rebuild trust with NATO. In exchange, America might allow limited F-35 sales initially, with full program access dependent on Turkey meeting specific conditions over several years. This wouldn't be the clean break headlines suggest, but rather a messy, complicated compromise that leaves nobody completely satisfied but everyone getting something. What's absolutely certain is this. Turkey's decision on the S-400s will define its geopolitical alignment for decades. Whether Erdogan chooses east or west, the consequences will reshape alliances, military capabilities, and power dynamics across 3 continents. The Turkey S-400 saga isn't over. It's just entering its most critical chapter, and we'll be watching every development. If this analysis helped you understand this complex situation, smash that like button and subscribe for more in-depth geopolitical breakdowns. Drop a comment below. Do you think Turkey should get F-35s, or did they blow their chance? Let's discuss. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.